till now nobody actually chose me, but Galgotia here people are actively choosing me for things, and that's a very important thing for a person to grow in life, that people are choosing you.
When we first thought we will be just representing our university, that was itself a big deal, and then we came up with this thought that, oh my god, it's going to be the whole nation. That was something I was very proud of.
For any student to become a successful entrepreneur, right, I think they all walk in with a lot of ideas, but what really transforms from an idea to a successful business or an entrepreneurial journey is the ecosystem. And I think that's what's been a game changer at Galgotias University.
Across India, millions of young people walk into universities every day carrying ideas. Ideas that could become products. Ideas that could become companies. Ideas that could solve real problems. But ideas alone are never enough. At Galgotias University, that ecosystem is taking shape. An ecosystem where classrooms connect with laboratories, where ideas become prototypes, where prototypes become products, and where students are encouraged to think not only about careers, but about creating impact. The results can be seen in award-winning innovations, student startups, global competitions, and most importantly, in the journeys of the students themselves. Every innovation begins with a question, a problem waiting to be solved, a challenge waiting to be understood. For some students, that journey begins with technology, and for others, it begins with curiosity. But for all innovators, the first step is believing that an idea can become something real.
When I see LinkedIn, there are a lot of gimmick or spoof products, websites that are very generic, and I was tired of seeing that. I wanted to make a change instead of creating very generic sites using simple stack. And this is exactly what Galgotias University provided me. iOS is still kind of premium in our Indian industry, Indian app industry, and it provided me exactly what I wanted to do. I was early in my life, I was already fascinated with Apple products.
So I had gone in Bihar for a summer vacation, and at the same time I saw my cousin and I interacted with him that how practical experiments are being taught in your schools. He said that there are no physical labs. We are studying all practical experiments in theoretical way only. So this shook me up from inside, that how can practical experiments be taught in only theoretical way. So since that time I started thinking that how can we solve this problem of and remove the limitations of physical lab infrastructure, and then we arrived that VR labs can actually solve this problem, specifically for tier 2 and tier 3 cities.
Yet ideas begin to grow when the environment around them changes. When students find mentors, resources, infrastructure, and a community that encourages experimentation, because talent alone is never enough. Innovation needs an ecosystem.
So for any student to become a successful entrepreneur, right, I think they all walk in with a lot of ideas. But what really transforms from an idea to a successful business or an entrepreneurial journey is the ecosystem. And I think that's what's been a game changer at Galgotias University. Right from all the labs which the university is providing to these young innovators, whether it's our NVIDIA lab or the iOS center or all the state-of-the-art labs which are out there, they are open for students to come and experiment with their ideas. So it gives a lot of leverage to students to come and try out different things. So what university has basically done here, apart from the incubation center, is then give them a free hand in whatever they want to do, right? So which is truly a differentiating factor what I see in this university, and it starts with the leadership mindset.
At Galgotias University, innovation is not treated as an extracurricular activity. It is embedded into the student experience. One of the strongest examples is the Apple iOS Development Center, a dedicated space where students learn not just coding, but product thinking, user experience, testing, and real-world application development.
Galgotias University have highly contributed in my journey. They have provided this amazing infrastructure, and they introduced me to iOS development using Swift. Swift is not like that much known language, but it is really fast and Apple native language, so it works really well and is really optimized for Apple products. And they provided me great mentors. They are highly specialized and highly knowledgeable in what they teach.
The result is a culture where students don't simply learn technology, they build it. And innovation extends beyond the lab. Through G-Scale and global collaborations, students gain exposure to international learning environments, entrepreneurship, and industry practices.
So here in Galgotias we have established our LNG EduTech lab, which is dedicated for EV lab. So in this lab we are teaching the students from basic level to advanced level, all the vehicle integration from two-wheeler to three-wheeler, four-wheeler, and from all the basics, like what are the kind of motors that are used in a vehicle, which motors is to be used with which vehicle, depending on the application, the types of motor changes, the feedbacks, how motor look from inside. We have given cut sections for all the motors and vehicles, so they can visualize what are the components and where are they actually placed in the vehicle. So from basic to advanced, how a motor works, again how to program a controller, how to write an algorithm in a controller to run a motor.
Innovation doesn't end when a product is built. The next challenge is transforming that product into something sustainable. That is where GIC RISE plays a critical role, providing mentorship, incubation support, startup guidance, and access to specialized infrastructure.
तो मार्केट में गैप पहले प्रॉब्लम मुझे ये दिखी कि FIH के बाद, क्योंकि मैं हैकाथॉन्स में जाता रहा, तो FIH में जब मैंने 3D प्रिंटिंग की सर्विसेज या प्रोटोटाइपिंग की सर्विसेज दी कॉलेज की तरफ से, तो उसमें मुझे ये प्रॉब्लम दिखी कि स्टूडेंट के लिए कोई डिज़ाइनिंग और प्रिंटिंग का, मैन्युफैक्चरिंग का कोई ब्रांड है नहीं जो इंडिविजुअली डील करे। अगर जो हैं भी वो बहुत ही बल्क ऑर्डर में सप्लाई करते हैं और उनकी डिलीवरी थोड़ी डिले होती है। दूसरा, उनकी प्राइसिंग भी बहुत हाई है, पर हमारी कंपनी प्राइसिंग कंट्रोलेबल है और ऑल ओवर इंडिया एक्सेसिबल है। तो हम एक स्टूडेंट के पास अगर आइडिया है उसको हम बिल्ड कर सकते हैं। रियल लाइफ में हम विदिन 7 डेज ऑल ओवर इंडिया डिलीवर कर देंगे कि वो एक अपना रियल लाइफ प्रोडक्ट बना पाए। पहले आइडिया ही यूनिवर्सिटी की तरफ से ही आया, क्योंकि हम उसका क्रेडिट पूरा यूनिवर्सिटी को देंगे, क्योंकि फर्स्ट ईयर में जब मैं आया तो मुझे इतना आइडिया नहीं था कि टेक कैसे काम करता है, हैकाथॉन्स क्या होती हैं, कहाँ जाना होता है। तो फर्स्ट ईयर में जब मैंने टेक क्लब ज्वाइन किए अपना रोबोटिक्स, मैं एज ए मेंबर काम करता रहा उसमें। फिर उसके बाद अभी मैं कोऑर्डिनेटर हूँ, और उसके बाद फिर मैं हैकाथॉन्स में गया। मैंने IIT दिल्ली विजिट किया फॉर IIT बॉम्बे टेक फेस्ट, IIT गुवाहाटी में सिलेक्ट हुआ फ्रॉम स्टेयर क्लाइंबर रोबोट फॉर स्क्लेड इवेंट। तो मैंने अलग अलग हैकाथॉन्स में पार्टिसिपेट किया। इवन मैं 5 से ज़्यादा हैकाथॉन्स में यूनिवर्सिटी के अंदर भी, और यूनिवर्सिटी से जो कोलैबोरेशन में हैकाथॉन्स होती हैं उनके साथ भी मैंने पार्टिसिपेट किया।
For Aman Katiyar and Prachi Mishra, the challenge was simple. Ideas were easy to create, products were not.
GIC ने हमको ये मदद की कि आपको कंपनी बनानी कैसे है, उसके लिए गाइडेंस हमें GIC से मिली। इवन वी हैव टॉप मेंटोर्स फ्रॉम बिजनेस इंस्टीट्यूट्स, तो वहाँ पे हमको पूरा गाइडेंस मिला कि कंपनी बनाते कैसे हैं, प्रॉफिट कैसे है, चार्ट शीट कैसे मेंटेन करनी है, ऑडिट कैसे दिखाना है, कंपनी रजिस्ट्रेशन कैसे करनी है। तो ये सारी चीज़ें हमें GIC ने ही हेल्प की। तो उन्हीं की मदद से हम कंपनी को बना पाए। और फिर उसके बाद हमें यूनिवर्सिटी से भी सबसे पहला कोलैबोरेशन जो हमको मिला वो हमारी यूनिवर्सिटी ने हमारे साथ किया। प्राउडेस्ट मोमेंट ये रहा कि हमने जितने भी बच्चों को अभी तक मदद की है उसमें से ज़्यादातर बच्चों ने हमें गुड रिव्यूज़ दिए उसके रिलेटेड। और दूसरा प्राउडेस्ट ये रहा कि हम अपनी यूनिवर्सिटी के साथ ही काम करने लगे, कि हमारा सबसे पहला कोलैबोरेशन मेरे यूनिवर्सिटी के साथ हुआ। तो हमारी यूनिवर्सिटी ने हमको बहुत सपोर्ट किया उसके रिगार्डिंग। और यूनिवर्सिटी एक इंडिविजुअल स्टूडेंट की बात सुनना वो बहुत अप्रिशिएट करने वाली बात है एक यूनिवर्सिटी के लिए।
That challenge inspired Fabit, a startup helping creators transform ideas into physical products through accessible 3D printing and prototyping services. What began as a classroom idea gradually evolved into a functioning startup. A reminder that innovation is not just about creating products, it's about creating possibilities. But innovation is rarely glamorous. Behind every achievement are failures, iterations, and moments of self-doubt.
So TechCurious is enabling schools to set up VR labs which are providing students a complete, controlled and safe environment in which they can perform scientific experiments which are aligned with the curriculum of CBSE, NCERT, like Ohm's law from physics or any other kind of experiments from biology or chemistry. Because we see there was restrictions or there were limitations of physical labs in tier 2 and tier 3 cities due to the availability of these physical labs and their cost and infrastructure. So we wanted to solve this problem by setting up VR labs where students can perform these experiments in a very freely way.
Yet, this is where ecosystems matter the most. Not during success, but during uncertainty. Students learn to iterate, adapt, and keep building. Then came the breakthrough. 18 students from Galgotias University were selected as global winners in the Apple Swift Student Challenge, the highest number from any private university in India.
I was pretty amazed. I didn't believe if I won because I made my app in just 1 month, and there are several students that they developed it for several of months, and it was my also first time, so I couldn't believe that I actually have won. My mentor said that it was expected from me. I guess they expected this.
First of all, representing our idea at an international level is a big win in itself, because we were able to showcase our idea and innovation to people from across the world. And we got multiple feedbacks. We also got multiple applauses from different people from representing different universities and countries. And this was really a big opportunity for us, which will help us build our brand in a much solid way.
What started as classroom projects had become products with global recognition. And the journey didn't stop there. Representing India at ED Ventures 2026 in Hong Kong, Galgotias University competed against 19 teams from leading international universities, and they returned with first place.
I like to begin with the problem. Imagine being a kid curious about how technology works, but the very tools designed to teach you that assume one thing that you don't have: vision. For us, that might seem like a simple imagination, but for 19 million visually impaired children around the world, that's the exact problem, because coding today is taught almost entirely through screens and visual interfaces. So for them, it's not just difficult, it's quite inaccessible by design. So Project Tacto is our answer to that problem. With Tacto, we are developing tactile coding system by which visually impaired children can build code physically. So it's like Tacto converts logic into something that you need to imagine to something that you can touch and feel. How does it work? It's quite simple. Students connect blocks which each block represents a programming concept. Students connect these blocks and place them on a reader grid, and here their program come alive through audio. So it's like Braille meets Lego, but for coding education.
So it all started back a year ago when Gaurang first came up with this project, and he said that I'm working on this thing and we want someone to interact with different schools and NGOs and help me build a community where we can run pilot programs and just go to different NGOs and tell them about our product. And then this competition came, and he was like, we want to enter this competition. And I was like, not sure at first. They're like, oh, it's a global scale, global level of competition, and it's going to be something very important, and we have to give a lot of time. But we did, and we won, and it's the best thing.
So when we first heard of this, that there will be 10 countries and we are going to represent India, that is something big, right? When we first thought we will be just representing our university, that was itself a big deal. And then we came up with this thought that, oh my God, it's going to be the whole nation. That was something I was very proud of. I'm 19, so doing something so huge at being just 19, it is indeed a great deal for me, and it is one of the very few times when I can say I'm proud of myself. For my family, I just remember their tears, their happy tears. They were proud.
Months of mentoring, testing and refining had prepared the team for the global stage. And when the opportunity arrived, they delivered. Another Galgotias venture, Techurious, also earned global recognition for its immersive learning platform. Different ideas, different technologies, one common purpose: creating meaningful impact through innovation.
I think everything that I have right now has been in a way given by Galgotias University, because you have a potential. You can get a lot of things by just sitting, you can curate an idea, but the power to translate it into something kinetic, that's what Galgotias gave me, because till now nobody actually chose me, but Galgotia here people are actively choosing me for things, and that's a very important thing for a person to grow in life, that people are choosing you, and Galgotias does that. Galgotias gives you resources, Galgotias give you a platform to speak, Galgotias give you a platform to translate your potential into kinetic and a kinetic translation, and I think that's a very big thing that Galgotias has played part in my life.
For decades, India has produced talent for the world. Engineers, developers, problem solvers. Today, a new transformation is underway. Universities are evolving from centers of instruction into launchpads of innovation. Places where students are encouraged not only to study technology but to shape it.
I personally see Galgotias as a global university which is deeply rooted in India. When I say that, what I essentially mean is being able to bring in global best practices, both in terms of what goes inside is terms of pedagogy, but also in terms of making students ready to be global players, but at the same time knowing and solving problems which are extremely nuanced to India, and being able to do well at that. That is definitely something that we see Galgotias playing a big role in it. And also what I see Galgotias shaping up to be is a university which is deeply rooted in creating impact. We are a school which is meant for the masses. We are a school which is meant for being able to transform meaningful education to people who probably haven't had access to private education previously. And that's the space that we very proudly occupy. And I think that's where we see ourselves making massive impact, whereas kids who probably come from semi-rural backgrounds, but being able to transform them into future leaders, and that's the gap that I feel we will be fulfilling in the longer run.
When a student, I think a lot of them walk with an idea, and when they come with an idea, they are very gung-ho about that idea, right? They feel that it's going to be a game changer. So what my methodology is firstly I deep dive into the thought process on how they came up with their idea, right? Is it an original idea or is it a Me Too idea? A Me Too idea is that, right now we are all watching a lot of shows, a lot of funding shows, we are reading about funding and everything. So the first thing is whether they copied this idea, thought about this idea because one of their friends or they know somebody did this idea and earned a lot. So what I usually tell founders that get into something which is your own skill set, which you can do for the rest of your life, whether it's bringing in a lot more money or not. Because I always say that a startup curve is like a W. You start at the highest point, and when it dips down, the only thing which can bring you back up is your conviction, is your skill set, and it's the why, that why you started this particular thing. So this is what I tell them, that do a lot more research. I think it's a very rewarding feeling. I think that if I can be a little dramatic here, it feels like the kids are moving out your own nest. It's emotional, but it's satisfying, and it brings a lot more, I'm feeling short of words, because it's a very overwhelming feeling. Something which started as an idea has nourished into a full-fledged business, which will potentially hire a lot more people, will make these founders unicorn founders hopefully soon. So it's a very emotional, it's a very rewarding feeling also.
And perhaps that is the real story. Not simply laboratories, not competitions, not startups, but confidence. The confidence that young innovators can build products, companies and solutions capable of creating impact on a global scale. Every app begins with a line of code. Every startup begins with an idea. Every achievement begins with a question. What if a student chooses to dream bigger? What if an idea is given the opportunity to grow? What if innovation is not limited by resources but empowered by them? Across classrooms, laboratories, incubation centers, and innovation spaces, thousands of students arrive with ambition. But ambition alone does not change the world. Opportunity does. Guidance does. Belief does. And perhaps that is the true story of Galgotias University.